So, yesterday I finished reading the Dharma Bums. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. I haven't had my morning coffee yet. As you can see from the moisturizer on my face, I had to wipe up. And this, I just showered and getting ready to start my day. A day that I hope will be filled with reading. So since I finished the Dharma Bums, I'm going to talk about that this is the book review. I'm just going to say, talk about the order to read. Because now I've read 4 Kerouac books. And I think I'm going to start, because I wanted to read the Yogi Letters by Burroughs, which is the last book in his trilogy, kind of a loose trilogy, but I didn't borrow it when I was at the library, and I didn't have time to go to the library, and I have a lot of other books, so I kind of want to read that, but I don't know if I kind of want to start my day with reading. I kind of feel like that's a good way to start. Like, I start reading and then I go and do stuff, like go meet a friend, go to a cafe and read, or meet a friend at a cafe, and go, I like first, just especially now that there's no one else at home, to just, I like starting the day that way. Just in being in my garden or in my room or something, and just grabbing an apple from the tree because they're ripe now. Well, kinda, but I like them. And I like to start my day like that. So that's the thing. I kind of want to continue the Duluoz legend. And I heard that, I mean, if you were to read in the chronological order, because now this happens kind of because I knew this though, that the whole Buddhist part of his life kind of comes towards the end. I mean, he dies in 1969, so, and this is does this take place in 56 or the late 50s, so still got some years. Oh yeah, so crazy. This book was very important for the hippie generation. Well, the beat generation in general, especially Allen Ginsberg. He's like everything the hippies love. But unfortunately, I'm not that into hippies, which means I'm not that into Allen Ginsberg's and the Beat Poets' life when it moves towards the 60s and they become kind of like hippies. I mean, they were predecessors to the hippies. So they don't really... Anyway, I think I might, because I have Visions of Cody and Big Sur, that I haven't read, that is by a beat poet, and then I have Queer and the Dharma Bums that I have read, that I have to return to the library and exchange for Yogi Letters, and I don't know where to go from there though. I want to buy the book about that Eileen Lee's daughter wrote about Eileen Lee, because as I talked about in the previous video, I feel like she's really the key, or that book might really be the key to understand how the Beat generation viewed women and black people, or Afro-Americans, Native Americans, or non-white people. I think that at least a bit of a perspective. Another thing, this morning I was reading about the Joan Anderson letter, and I'm just so hyped, because I feel, and I don't know, I'm so hyped. I really, really want to read it, because it's by my boy. It's by Neil Cassidy, the love of my life, and I really want to read it. Maybe I should study the Beat Generation, because then I might. I think if I were to be like, hey, I'm gonna write like I'm gonna write like a book on Neil. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do that though, but maybe I should just be like, I am studying the Beat Generation to see like how they are and how do they hold up today, and what did I don't know. I feel like they definitely do have a lot of interesting things and topics to teach us, and should I don't know. I just think they're really really cool, and terrible people, but really really cool people. Um, and I'm kind of starting to like Jack Kerouac, which is like what, like what? I hated him for so long. Actually, I keep glancing towards the door because I don't like open doors. Okay. I keep glancing at the door because I don't like open doors. No, but I hated Jack Kerouac. I hated him. I was like, oh, he's such a jock. He's so lame. He's a homophobic, but he's gay himself, so it just creates a bunch of problems. And all his friends are gay too, so it's just creates a lot of problems. And he's just this alcoholic, angry dude that's like rude to women and rude to his wife, and like he's just this jock who just goes there on this scholarship from like football. Then he's like, oh, Neil is so cool, and basically like falls in love with him, but not necessarily in a romantic way, but he definitely does completely fall in love with him platonically or romantically, but definitely one or the other. um and he's just, I mean, he's really smart. No, but this is the good part. um I and he's always like just shy and timid, and everyone else is just like, we're so cool, we're so interesting. And look at Jack, who's like unsure of himself in the corner and being weird and being rude to people because he's insecure, and that's like such a dumb way to be insecure. Um, and what else? Anyway, I hated him. But I'm kind of starting to like him now and start to dislike Burroughs because Kerouac is still a problematic fave. But, well, I think, I don't know if I talked about this, but how, maybe I did talk about this in the previous video. Anyway, if I didn't, I'm gonna say it again. How he talks about being the king of the beats. Like that's how, or that's like he's called the king of the beats. And at first I was like furious with that. I was like, what? What is this? Like, of course he fits like the king title because he's all like, and sure he did write On the Road, which was kind of like a really good book, but also kind of shitty, but also kind of good. Um, and I mean I loved it so. And sure he was, but I think that because I read, I think maybe in the introduction or something in this book, I don't know, it said something about how, oh yeah, in the introduction it's like how he's always like, he's very, puts himself second, and like he's able to just follow others and like could just put everything, and just like how he just follows Neil on the road and just follows Gary Snyder um, everywhere. And I think that's really, I haven't talked about this book at all. This is supposed to be a book review about the Dharma Bums. Haha. But how he just follows them around, and just, and also like kind of in the Subterraneans too, is like, I mean, it's not about him, like he's the main character, but he's still like not in focus as much as this other person that he's trying to paint a picture of. And like I think it does it in a really cool way, how he just basically all of his books are just character analysis of people, of Maggie Cassidy, of Mardu Fox, of Cody Pomeroy, of Jaffe. Jaffe, what's his surname? Jaffe. I don't remember. Ryder, because it's almost Snyder. Because his real name is Gary Snyder, and it's Jaffe Ryder. Okay, yeah. So all his books is just him following other people around, and that's kind of. I mean, he talked a lot, and sometimes he does take the spotlight, but not in the same way, like as opposed to like Burroughs, where it's just like all about. I mean, in Junkie, it's all about Junk, and in Queer, it's all about him and how he needs to be heard, he needs to be in the spotlight. He has these stories, and like sure, everybody is kind of like that, and Jack is kind of. Sometimes he will be like his own person, but a lot of times he will just kind of fall into these other people in the book at least, and that's really cool. And which is yeah, I think, and of course he makes a caricature of the people, and we don't get the full story at all, which is kind of the uncool part, because like it's a characterized, but it's really also a caricature. Like I'm sure there's more to Mardu Fox, and I kind of felt that the entire time reading it too, I was like, there's probably a bunch of stuff that he's not mentioning, and I want to know. Ah, my teeth. And yeah, there's of course, and in the Dharma Bums, apparently like Gary was like, oh, why did you write this? But I mean, they were still friends. They were friends until the end. But Gary was like, because apparently this is a kind of a glorified book. Like usually, Jack isn't afraid of just talking about like all of the terrible bad stuff that's going on, because there were a bunch of messed up stuff happening, and he's not afraid to dive into that and really just be like, this is negative feelings. But this is kind of written in a way that's more like, we go up the mountains and it's beautiful, and we go hiking and this is great, and we have parties, and it's just, and all of his books kind of in my experience does have that feel of, wow, what a gorgeous way of living sometimes. But this kind of has all of that and none of the, oh, that sucks, like I'm happy I wasn't there. Not the, yeah. But so it's time to get to the book review, because I've been talking for like 30 minutes now, 30 and 30. So yeah, The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac is a book that's like 187 pages long. So it's not that long. It's about Gary Snyder, which in this book is called Jaffe Ryder, and Jack Kerouac himself is called what is his name? His name is, I need my coffee. Smith? Raymond Smith. Ray Smith. And then I think Allen Ginsberg was Alva Goldbook. And then there's some other people from, and of course Neil was Cody again, but he had a tiny role. And can I just use the real names of the people, or should I don't know? And then Evelyn was Carolyn Cassidy, but I totally didn't find her, because she just probably just mentioned, because I looked up the people, because at first I was like, okay, let me just guess, and then I was like, I'm pretty sure this is Allen Ginsberg, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was a bit afraid of, because I was afraid I just made it up in my head because the names are similar, but then it was true. Then there's some other poets, but there's so many people, like they hang around so many people, and I gotta get the basic down first, just really, really, really get to know Kerouac, Burroughs, and Ginsberg, and Cassidy, and Aline Lee now, I've added someone to my list, and kind of Carolyn Cassidy too, but and then I will expand, and like I should probably add, oh, and also Corso. But he wasn't. Yeah, he was more of a star in, or he had a bigger role. Now it was kind of just all about Gary Snyder, and then Allen Ginsberg, Alba Goldbook, had a semi-important role. I mean, he was in it a lot, but not a lot. It was basically just about Gary Snyder. So, okay, I think I need to work on my book review. Maybe I need to write scripts, but that's no fun. Also, I need to eat because I haven't had my breakfast. Classy. Okay, so the book is basically Jack Kerouac, or Ray Smith, is, he gave himself a very basic name. Maybe kind of on purpose. Even though he kind of also wanted to name all his characters the same thing, like Jack Duluoz maybe, because this is a part of the Jack Duluoz. Oh my god, I was starting to talk about that, and then I just went on a different tangent. I'll get back to it though. Now it's too late. That was the first thing I was going to talk about, and then I just, because there's so much. The Beat Generation is so fun. But basically, he's like, oh, the Dharma Bums, that's like cool hobos that are like, have wisdom and stuff, and they're like, oh, just living life, and I'm obviously making like a very bad, people might get pissed at me for this, but the thing is, this book, so it basically, he and Gary Snyder, okay, so I'm not gonna spoil it, actually. So basically they just go hiking and stuff, and that's what they do. They just go hike, they hike, party and hike, and then there's like, there's beautiful descriptions of the mountains and hiking and parties and everything. Is very beautiful. He definitely does. I mean, his spontaneous prose really reads like poetry, especially on some pages. There's just like very gorgeous descriptions, which is something I like about his writing, even though that is also part of why it's very tiring to read, because it's like reading poetry is obviously more, because poetry is kind of all about like, oh, let's just write. Okay, I mean, it's not all about, but like a lot of poetry, more than books, is just, let's write words, a bunch of words, and it's difficult, and you have to understand it. I'm just like, I can't understand it. I can't, because this is just like him describing mountains in a very pretty way. And kind of, yeah, and I definitely do understand what they were talking about in the introduction about how this paints a beautiful picture, because even though, of course, there's some bad stuff happening, but for example, this is in the introduction, so I'm just won't go ahead and say it, because it's literally just 2 pages of the book that deals with this, and is the suicide of Neil Cassidy's girlfriend, which is terrible to say. What's her real name? I don't know, because I don't know who she is, because she wasn't married to him, and I know about like Luann, or because I think she's married. Luann is Mary Lou in On the Road, and of course I know about Carolyn Cassidy, my girl. I've read her book Off the Road, but I didn't finish it though, because I am really dumb, and I started reading Off the Road like last year, and then I was like, this is so amazing, this is such a good book, this is so amazing, I get to, like, because she's just talking about how she's in love with Neil Cassidy, and it really feels like, I'm just like, wow, I'm falling even more in love with him, or I can feel my love for him, because I never really met him, through Carolyn Cassidy's words, So I just really, really love the book so much. I love the book so much that I was like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna stop reading and save it for later. Which is such a dumb thing to do, because then I went and I got busy and I didn't have time, and now I don't know where I am, and I was trying to find out where I was in the book, but then, and it was such a short amount of time, so I didn't want to start all over, because it's like, I just read this, but the problem is I couldn't find out where I was, because I couldn't just look up a page and be like, oh, I remember this, because in the meantime, I've of course read everything I could about Neil Cassidy's life on Wikipedia and YouTube and everything. I've just like Google him a lot, and it's like, I know this, so I look up and it's like, oh, this is happening. Well, I've read this, but maybe I hadn't in that book. But now enough time has passed that I'm just gonna start over. I'm just gonna start at the beginning and maybe just skim it a bit, because I did not know Neil had a. How did I miss this? Did he just make that up? I don't understand. Like, how did I not know that Neil had a girlfriend that was? Maybe I just forgot. But I feel like I should have remembered that Neil, because what happened was like this girlfriend, I need to give her a name. This is so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. But she like cut up her arms, and then she's like talking kind of crazy, like, oh, I wrote down everything we did and tried to flush it down the toilet, and then the police, but it didn't flush, and the police came, and now everything all of you did. All the crimes, because it didn't follow the law exactly. All the crimes would, so the police gonna come, and then she just like cut up her arms, like talking stuff like that, and was very worried. And Neil asked Jack to watch her, which he did, and then he went home, and Neil got back, and Jack went home, and Neil was asleep, and then she went up on the roof and jumped, or she was standing there, and then like. Someone called the police, and then she saw the police, and that was what she was afraid of, unfortunately, but they couldn't know that. So, oh, look at me defending cops. But yeah, it's very unfortunate that she was afraid of the person who might be able to save her. So basically, she had this coat on, and the police like grabbed her, and but she just went out of the coat and like just fell down naked, and I don't know if that part is true. Maybe it's just added for flair. But at the same time, their real lives were just so crazy that I honestly kind of believe everything, because it was just fact checked. Just yeah. And that's a pretty messed up thing to experience. And Rosie was her name in the book, not her real name. But yeah, how did I not know this? Like, having your girlfriend commit suicide is that's a very big deal. I don't know how to put this, but it's something that shapes you, I assume. Something that's like, yeah, very, So I should have known this. I don't know how I didn't until I read this. But Neil has a really tiny role in this book, and I was kind of hoping. I mean, so the thing is, I don't like converted Buddhists. I should have started off the video by saying that. I don't really, because I feel like a lot of the times, they're just everything. They're like, okay, I have to eat. Oh, dude, everything is empty and awake. And Jack, I mean, he's different because he doesn't just like smoke a lot of pot and be like, he actually knows a shit ton of I mean, he's very, 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 very smart, extremely intelligent, and he definitely has done reading and knows a lot about Buddhism and everything. Um, so he has that, and that makes it kind of more intelligent. But really, when it comes down to it, he's also just being like, dude, everything is empty and awake. That's kind of my take on it, and like there was definitely some cool philosophy and everything, but it's just not my cup of tea. Um, I think that it's just converted Buddhist. I don't know. I mean, I can't call him a pseudo intellectual or whatever because he's actually like insanely clever, so smart, read so much, and they're having fun. This is really fun. And it's like, go Jack. I'm happy you're finding like you're meditating and doing all this cool stuff, meditating on top of mountains, everything. Like, it sounds amazing. Sounds like he's having a really good time. And I kind of warmed up to the book at the end. I think that I shouldn't have went into, because I kind of went into this book being like, I don't like converted Buddhists. I don't like just the whole shebang of I don't like. But towards the end, during the book, while I was reading it, I was just like, I want to be done with this book. I want to move on. I want to read the yoga letters, even though I don't really care for drugs either. I just want to continue reading so I can start Visions of Cody or whatever, because I just care about Neil Cassidy. And that's kind of a really bad way to read a book. Like, you just, before you even read one sentence, kind of decide that you hate it. And I just read this book because it was kind of short, and I like finishing books. And also I heard it was kind of easy, which is true. Like, it was a bit easier in a way than other Kerouac books, because it actually had like chapters, which was so nice. Like, oh my god, it felt so good to like be able to actually just like read, and there's the sentences are a bit shorter, I think, and there's more like dialogue. It's not a lot, of course, but it's still, and there's like, look at this, there's a chapter, like it actually ends, and sometimes it's only like a couple pages long too, and that was so nice, because it's hella tiring when it just keeps it's going on and on and on, just like, where can I stop? And so that was very nice about this book. I did like how it was written. I think it has some beautiful descriptions, even though Jeffy keeps repeating like comparisons are bad, but I think there was a lot of very pretty descriptions in this book, and it had a cool topic too. It was just all of the Buddhist philosophy thingy. Just kind of felt, I don't know, I shouldn't be a hater, because I mean, in the end I liked the book, but I was very excited when I got to page 170 or something. But that was because I wanted to finish this book yesterday too. Like, I set such a strict time limit on myself. I was like, I kind of want to read it in a day. In the end, I think I spent like 2 days on it, because I was like, I met a friend and I did a bunch of stuff. But I kind of wanted to just finish this very quickly. So I think this is a good book, especially, I mean, if you love Buddhism, if you love, I think it's an amazing book, and I understand why it can be very inspiring. Also, I don't like the cover. I don't know who this artist is. I just kind of have like, I feel like I've read some of his comics and then I've just thought that I didn't like them, or maybe there's like a similar artist who draws like similar stuff that I read the comics of when I was a kid and then I just never liked them. So I kind of, another bad thing about this is just I don't like the cover, which is totally personal. I think that this is a comic artist that I don't even remember anything about. I just remember that feel dislike, which is of course harming. Like, you shouldn't just like, I don't like this. But whatever. I could have learned to like this cover if I like, but this is just from the library, so it's fine if I don't like it. I kind of like because I bought Visions of Cody, so I kind of like that. But yes, so now I don't have a lot to say about this book actually. And more to say about the Beat Generation in general, but that's fine. It's not though. This is a book review. Whatever. I think that what was the first thing? Oh yeah, the Jack Duluoz legend. I think I'm gonna move on to Big Sur maybe now, because apparently you're supposed to. I mean, if you read it chronologically, this is kind of late. But is Big Sur after that? Because then it's like, oh man, I have no idea what Big Sur is about. So, is it gonna be about like his alcoholism in like the 60s? Like the last years of. I wonder. But I'll find out. And maybe today I will find out. Maybe I'll start reading Big Sur, and then I want to read the Yaga letters because I'm kind of tired of Kerouac's writing. So maybe I should read Big Sur and then the Yaga letters, and then Off the Road, and then Visions of Cody. I kind of want to read Tristessa too because it's like hella short, and I love finishing books. And The Town and the City. But I think I'm gonna finish my Jack Kerouac binge soon. I think so. But I kind of want to read The Town and the City. But I feel like I've kind of read the important ones, the famous ones. I mean, Big Sur, I've got left, and I'm gonna read Vision of Cody. I don't know if that was very critically acclaimed or whatever, but it's about Neil Cassidy, so of course I'm gonna read it. And oh my god, I was reading about the Joan Anderson letter, and it's like, why won't I? Oh, I already talked about this, but I'm just like, it's so exciting because I mean, it's kind of exciting that you can't read it yet, because then it's like, even though I was born during the time when they were like dying, no, but I think that Allen Ginsberg died. Didn't Allen Ginsberg and Burroughs die in like 99, 98? And some of them are still alive. Because I think Neil died in 64, I want to say 63. He died 4th of February. And he's born 8th of February, so he dies 4 years short, and he was like 40. What are those sounds? There's some weird sounds. Okay, but anyway, it's kind of exciting that you can't read it because, like, because I couldn't be I couldn't. I mean, I think Gary Snyder might be alive. I think some of them are alive, but not like Neil and Jack and Alan and Burroughs and Aline. None of them are alive, and Lucian. So, Corso, he's probably dead. I think he's dead. Is he? I need to read Corso. So it's exciting that the Joan Anderson letter is kind of something to look forward to, because I can't really. Everything else is kind of done. It's like they're not gonna write anything else. I can't meet them. They're not gonna say anything or do anything. And but I can be excited about the whole Joan Anderson letter thing and be like, are we gonna be able to read this, the thing that inspired all of these kind of good books I'm reading? I mean, obviously I keep reading them, so I like him. Very exciting. I think I need to stop talking now. There's of course always more to say, but then it's possible to just make more videos.